Yes, good evening once again. Welcome to the second edition of News Tonight. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukumwa, and we'll go straight to what we have for you this time round. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yesterday unveiled Uganda's Moroto prototype all-terrain firefighting vehicle to a diplomatic delegation from the embassies of the United States of America, the European Union, and Russia at State House in Debe. The Moroto is a revolutionary all-terrain solution designed to access challenging terrains where traditional fire engines cannot. Drawing from his experience and military background, as well as observing wildfires televised worldwide, President Museveni explained that he developed the innovative idea for designing an armored firefighting tank. And this advancement aims not only to tackle bushfires across Uganda's diverse landscapes, but also as a philanthropist to extend help to other countries notably affected by wildfires. He further noted that aerial firefighting methods to combat wildfires are often ineffective because the planes release only small amounts of water, which is insufficient to control large-scale incidents. In 2023, President Museveni met with representatives from Micheal Industries to propose his innovative solution. Sharing his wealth of invaluable knowledge blended with indigenous expertise, he said that he acquired a lot of knowledge combined with indigenous knowledge and fighting skills to design an armored prototype firefighting vehicle. During a presentation, Jan Petrus Stein from the Micheal Industries shared that in collaboration with Specialized Concept, they accepted the challenge to design and develop this groundbreaking vehicle and subsequently built a prototype based on President Museveni's concept. In December 2024, a delegation sent by President Museveni visited their factory to review the prototype, and a locust spray prevention system was added to the unit. The prototype possesses all-terrain capability, allowing it to operate on terrains inaccessible to standard fire trucks or vehicles with a high speed of up to 60 kilometers per hour. It is equipped with rubber tracks suitable for both rugged terrain and normal roads, providing superior mobility that enables it to climb hills, navigate obstacles, and cross ditches. The inspection by the National Enterprise Corporation and the Ministry of Transport verified the vehicle, which Micheal Industries and Specialized Concept designed and manufactured at their own cost. During the unveiling of the new vehicle, President Museveni stated it marks a major step forward towards Uganda's efforts to enhance its energy and emergency services, providing a technologically advanced tool for tackling fires and other hazards, as well as promoting business and philanthropy to the outside world. The presentation ceremony was also attended by the Ugandan team, including Engineer Timothy Tibesigwa, Commissioner for Mechanical Engineering Services at the Ministry of Works and Transport, Engineer Jacob Lumonya, Assistant Commissioner in charge of Equipment, and Engineer Norbert Ugwal. The Micheal Industries team from South Africa included Jan Petrus Stein, Sheila Nayebare, and Dick Muhwezi. In more news, the 3-day 6 biennial private sector CEO forum, which has been happening in Fort Portal, has ended with a call to all Ugandans and government at large to double efforts towards positive marketing of Uganda if the tourism industry is to thrive. The retreat has been closed by Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, who represented the President of Uganda.
It has been put forward that Uganda's tourism industry has greatly suffered globally due to its tainted global reputation.
We know it's a special and wonderful country, and the region around is. But the fact is that Uganda has a negative reputation. So if there's one thing I would like to discuss really today is the question of image. Until we can fix the image of Uganda externally and internally, I'm not sure we will see much change.
This has been raised during this year's 60th biannual private sector CEO forum held in Fort Portal City.
But one of the major countries in the world has a category 3 travel advice for this country, which is at the same level of Somalia, the Central African Republic, and South Sudan. Now I leave it to everybody in this room and anybody who is listening to say, is that a valid comparison?
During a panel discussion organized as part of the forum, veteran tourism investor Praveen Muman noted with concern that the shattered Uganda's image has in the end made it costly to market once Africa's tourism powerhouse.
We have a major government that has a restriction on Queen Elizabeth National Park. Is that justified? Why is it justified? What is it being done to change it? What are the constraints of that to make sure that that travel advice is fixed? Is it that the security by the government services is not enough? Is it that we are not talking about it enough? But these things cannot go on forever. For the last 28 years, every year we have lived with various negative travel advisories. As a government of Uganda, you have a responsibility to make sure you fix it.
Experts warn that indeed such trends have not only affected Uganda, but rather swallowed out East Africa as a region.
What makes the image of a country? Well, the region is complex, but we need to talk about it. We need to explain to people, while the region might be complex, the country is working well.
Hotel chains can also help us overcome the stigma of the negative travel advisories.
The 3-day event has been closed by the Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja.
It is befitting for the public-private sector to engage with senior government leaders, CEOs, and industry stakeholders to address strategic policy issues and align actions to accelerate Uganda's socio-economic transformation.
The CEO retreat also pointed out at poor infrastructure as one sector which has slaughtered tourism takeoff.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, please use your powers. I know 100% your capabilities and your capacity. Use your powers as leader of government business / budgets and fix this road.
The contractor was paid, but I want to promise that with this money he's going to receive around 50 billion. It will push him to some level. And that is what I can promise.
The 3-day 60th biannual private sector CEO retreat has happened under the theme Transforming Uganda into a Preferred Tourism Destination, enhancing public-private sector investment in infrastructure, conservation, digitalization, productive diversification, marketing and tourism safety.
Another essential ingredient of development which the NRM has tackled is the establishment of the necessary social, economic infrastructure across the country. And the government has prioritized infrastructure development in the key areas of transport and energy in order to lower the cost of doing businesses in Uganda.
The week-long retreat will climax on 13th September 2025 with the CEO run still to be held in Fort Portal City. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
The Worldwide Fund for Nature has launched Uganda's $24 million One Health project, an initiative aimed at advancing coexistence of animals, humans and the environment within the Greater Virunga landscape. Officiating at the launch, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayewa, says that the project will allow a balanced sharing of the environment.
The Greater Virunga landscape, home to thousands of animal species, stands at the center of a regional conservation push. The $24 million One Health project aims to create harmony between humans, animals and nature while addressing the critical risks posed by cross-border zoonotic diseases.
I don't think these animals recognize your artificial borders. So even where we fail to come together as politicians, where we are talking of political integration, the way the president has been talking about it, the animals are already integrated and the diseases are already integrated. They don't know about all this. So I'm really happy to see that we as human beings, we have also now been integrated. We've come together, DRC, Rwanda, Uganda, to tackle this very critical issue of ensuring that we start with the robust preventive efforts that tackle the challenges and prepare ourselves in case of pandemics of this nature.
Zoonotic diseases that jump between animals and humans have increasingly become a global threat. With the high cross-border movement of both animals and people in the Greater Virunga region, the need for collaboration has never been more urgent.
Animal industry and fisheries, as well as along the Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Tourism and Wildlife in Uganda is a set center for all of us to collaborate together so that the threats such as zoonotic diseases and the antimicrobial resistance is cross-cutting against in all our sectors. And it is when we can be together which requires an integrated One Health approach for effective preparedness and response.
The communities and wildlife share resources, not only water sources, but also some of our people also go to collect resources from the park. But also wildlife also goes in people's land. So if there's a threat or a disease that comes, either it is transmitted through the water sources, then subsequently the people who share water sources, but also our livestock that also share the water in the watering points. You find that diseases are likely to come from wildlife to livestock, domestic livestock, but also to people.
The Ugandan government is also investing in infrastructure to support ecotourism and facilitate the success of the initiative.
So we are going to focus so much on tourism, and through tourism, we are going to work on tourism roads. We are working on the one of Gwindi. We are going to do the ones of Ruhija. So we want that whole area interconnected so that even in your efforts, you're able to move without much hindrance.
With regional cooperation, scientific innovation and political will, this project will set a new benchmark in protecting biodiversity and public health.
We shall be training the trainers of trainers for them to train the communities that they work with. So the preparedness, the response that we are creating is to empower our three countries to respond and to do early reporting of any signs of a disease that could be a pandemic.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
A group of NRM supporters from Kawempe who lost in the primaries have decided to contest as independents in the forthcoming general elections. The group, led by one Fatia Nakamia, who participated in the primaries for Member of Parliament, Kawempe South constituency, cited unfairness and intimidation during the whole process.
My name is Nakamia Fatia, Subiria Kawempe South constituency. The issue right now, we are showing the public that we are coming independently due to the following reasons down. Kawempe South, we are the winners. They grabbed our votes. They did everything bad to us. So right now we are showing the public, plus His Excellency the President, we are ready to come as independent, because the one with the flags, they want to win. They are just automatically getting cards. That's to show people that they are what? They are flag bearers, but they don't have ground. So right now we are saying, the one who have been elected by people, we are ready to come independent for our people to work for them.
And people elected us, but they announced weak ones. I was standing for the post of LOC 3, Muluka 3, but now I chose to come to fight that person who stood in my win, who blocked me from serving the people of Kawempe. And I'm coming, Kawempe South, we are not going to stop this. We are coming, President, please. Whatever happened in Kawempe, we are not contented. They tried for us, we thought these people are going to come and they reconcile with us. But since there
was unfairness within the NRM party, the elections that just concluded, elections of the flag bearers, were very, very, very unfair. And according to whatever is going on within the party of NRM and the flag bearers, many of them won't get us victory or win within the party as our flag bearers. So some of us, when we go for ground check, most of those who are denied the tickets, or those who withdrew from joining the just concluded elections because of the biasness that was there, the unfairness, we decided to go by the people's voice, not with
NRM Jew, M7 Jew.
Tutandika. NRM hoye? NRM hoye?
The NUP president, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, today officially unveiled councillors and mayors for all the 5 divisions of Kampala that will contest in the 2026 general elections on the party ticket.
At the event held at the party headquarters, Makereka, the president of the National Unity Platform, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, officially handed over party symbols to mayors and councillors.
Yes. Let us build a family relationship, a positive relationship, a close friendship.
Chagulanyi emphasized that those who left the party without being given cards are not NUP members. He also cautioned candidates who received symbols against celebrating, noting that the cards represent responsibility rather than victory.
Obuvunanyizibwa obwo bwe mugenda okutuukiriza mutuweesa ekitiibwa oba bwe mugenda okusuula wansi mutuswaze ekyo kiri gye muli. Tetuyina candidate wa independent gwe tugenda kusindika ffe ng'aba NUP.
In his words, he asked them not to insult their opponents, but respect them.
Gye mulaba mu ffe bwe bulungi bwaffe. Our differences are our beauty. That's our uniqueness. You are each other's keeper, you are each other's support. Wemba mukwataganye ne mulumba mwenna mujja kuwangula mwenna.
The NUP Electoral Management Committee condemned the Electoral Commission for failing to nominate some of their members and for the arrest of others during the nomination process.
Electoral Commission for intentionally frustrating our candidates, those who were supposed to be nominated. We ask the government to unconditionally free all political prisoners.
Committee leaders also outlined that the vetting process for members of parliament will officially begin on the 15th of this month.
Vetting starts at 8 a.m. for all candidates. And we ask our candidates to carry along with them the expression of interest forms, national IDs, membership cards, original or certified copies of their academic documents.
Cayenne Faith, Jamil Sekaja, FOIBC.
Makerere University has once again reaffirmed its commitment to nurturing the next generation of leaders by awarding more than 200 fully funded scholarships to the 2025-26 academic year offered under a partnership with the MasterCard Foundation through MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. We have details to this.
has awarded scholarships for the 2025-26 academic year to talented and deserving students, including women, refugees, and persons with disabilities. The scholarships, delivered under the partnership with MasterCard Foundation through MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program, are aimed at nurturing future leaders who will drive positive change in their communities. During the awarding ceremony at Micheal University, Professor Buyenza Makadas, the academic registrar of Micheal University, urged the new scholars to remain disciplined and focused.
It has given about 205 for undergraduate degree programs and about 30 for the master degree programs. Now, of course, you know that this is a charity, okay? So what we have done today is really to encourage them to study hard, to really develop their personal careers, and also be responsible in a way. We have what we call the alumni network. We now, of course, admit you in the alumni network where we have a program. We attach you again to particular opinion leaders, employers, and these ones help to follow you up to see that you really progress.
Professor Justin Namara, the program director at Makerere, cautioned students against distractions such as peer pressure, which often derail many at higher institutions of learning.
We've been told that you've earned this opportunity, but you need to seize it. Seizing it means make the best out of it. Usually coming from high school and you join the university, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of freedom that make you lose the focus. I urge you to prioritize your academics. Academic excellency will open doors for you. So don't get lost in the world, don't get lost in the social groups.
Adrian Bukenya, the country director of MasterCard Foundation Uganda, advised the beneficiaries to keep the spirit alive for a better future.
You as an individual deserve to be here. It is your place to be. Don't think of yourself as anything else but deserving a scholarship. That's what. So your mindset needs to have the attitude that I belong here. Whichever path you take, be very strong in that conviction and be the best you can be in that space, because, as I said, the expectation is that you will take us along.
Parents and students expressed gratitude.
Partner states in the East African Community Common Higher Education Area have been urged to unite and build a regional higher education framework that rivals those developed countries in terms of integration, positioning the region to compete globally in innovation and excellence. Officiating at the closure of the first regional ministerial conference of the East African Community Common Higher Education Area and representing the Minister for Education and Sports, Deputy Speaker of Parliament Thomas Tayewa said that the costs of lacking a coherent regional higher education system are heavy.
I will say I will continue to champion this cause as the heartbeat of regional academic integration to push boundaries, to break silos and turn frameworks into futures.
The first regional ministerial conference of the East African Higher Education Area has officially closed in Kampala, with ministers committing to fast-track full implementation and periodic reviews to establish a regional database of accredited institutions. In a Kampala communique on the East African Common Higher Education Area, ministers from East African countries also issued a directive to standardize tuition fees and expedite the removal of visa charges to promote student mobility.
3, we commit to enhance mutual recognition of academic and professional qualifications through development of relevant regional frameworks for mutual recognition academic and professional qualifications to promote seamless mobility of students, staff, and professionals.
So we want to make sure that when our students, Rwandan students, come to Uganda, they are paying like Ugandans. Because when Ugandan students come to Rwanda, they pay like Rwandans. This is one thing that we can really implement because there is already a political will to do so.
The Minister of Education and Sports Uganda, Janet Museveni, represented by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament for Uganda, Thomas Taibwa, emphasized that without a coherent higher education framework, there is a risk of duplication and inefficiency as universities and states operate in isolation rather than in harmony.
Loss of talent and innovation as researchers seek better integrated systems abroad. A growing gap between the aspirations of our youth and the capacity of our institutions to deliver. We cannot afford such a fragmentation in East Africa as the stakes are too high.
The ministers during the three-day conference resolved to establish an East African higher education area where credits, qualifications and talent can move freely across borders.
This gathering, let us live with a renewed determination that East Africa must not lag behind. We must not allow fragmented systems to rob our young people of their future. Instead, let us unite to build an East African common higher education area that rivals the developed countries in integration and positions us to compete globally in scale, innovation, and excellency.
The next regional ministerial conference on the East African Common Higher Education Area is scheduled to take place in 2027 in Kigali, Rwanda.
So we have taken some of the items that have been highlighted in the ministerial communique, such as making sure that we each recognize degrees from the whole of accredited universities across the community. So this is one thing we are going to endeavor to make sure that all countries are there too by the time we meet in Kigali, Rwanda in 2 years.
The conference also saw East African community partner states commit to offering scholarships to students under the East African Student Mobility Scheme. I'm Nafka Farida in Bunyonyi.
Efforts to strengthen Uganda's fight against poor waste management have been stepped up following a 3-day training of ministries, agencies and local governments on solid waste management. The Executive Director, NEMA, Dr. Barirega Kankwasa, says that through this training, local governments have been tipped on proper waste management.
The National Environment Management Authority has convened a capacity building workshop on solid waste management aimed at harmonizing how local governments handle garbage across the country.
All the officials, the Ugandan officials that are involved in directly waste management will be taken through all this to enhance their capacity to deliver the services that affect this country. This is not just the beginning of this cooperation framework, it is the start of a transformative journey for Uganda's environment management sector.
Officials were introduced to a system which will guide local governments, industry and communities on proper collection, transportation and disposal, turning waste from a burden into a potential resource.
Much of the waste you have of which category? Is it organic waste? Is it recyclable plastics? Once you know the amount and the quality of waste you have, then you attract investment. We have so many recyclers here who recycle for export, who recycle for production of products, jerry cans, cups.
The training highlighted the draft National Waste Management Policy, which will guide enforcement, awareness and introduce extended producer responsibility, making waste generators accountable for the litter they create.
Today, we move from intention to action, from commitment on paper to action on ground.
Facilitators from the Center for Science and Environment India emphasized the importance of accurate data and segregation of waste at source as the foundation for successful policies.
Sub-Saharan Africa, we expect that the solid waste generation will become threefold within next 25 years, and it is going to put extraordinary.
The discussions also tackled the growing problem of single-use plastics and Uganda's leadership roles in global plastic treaty negotiations. Mary Namkose, Mike Bakablindi, UBC News.
Audiovisual creators have been urged to register their works in order to fully benefit economically. While officiating at the African Regional Summit on Copyright and Related Rights in the audiovisual sector, Justice Minister Norbert Mao stressed that failure to register creative works denies them legal protection.
Held under the theme Building a Future for Audiovisual Industries through the protection of copyright and related issues, the summit aims to raise awareness on the importance of registering creative products.
And I think we should thank COVID for making the creative people realize that they don't need to be poor. We come here today to recognize you, our creative people, to pledge to protect you and to reward you.
The Government Free Uganda Registration Services Bureau is working to strengthen the copyright legal framework to ensure creators benefit from their work.
The journey of copyright dates back in the 1960s, and we have had laws of copyright. The most recent is the one of 2006, which we are amending, and the process of amendment has been ongoing. And it is just to enhance the protection measures.
However, creators are calling on government to establish an independent ministry responsible for the creative sector.
The problem we have at the moment is a body that will be able to regulate this. Much as we've got people with different concerns, who have these concerns, what we need, the creatives, we need a ministry, a body, a ministry running this thing in the country. Right now, creatives, we don't know where we fall. We don't know whether we are in IT. We don't know whether we are in gender. We need a full-fledged ministry run by technocrats, okay?
They are also encouraged to treat their creations as valuable assets, not as luxuries.
But it starts with them recognizing that what they have created has economic value. That consciousness is very important. That's the reason why they were invited to this meeting. I am hoping that they don't just create their products, dump it, and then forget about it. They must nurture it.
I'm Bantu Machabe Semambo and Winnie Katwile for UBC.
Let's take a short break. Don't miss what we have on return.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu, kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanyi kuzunga na banka siripsi? Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyizi *5*8# ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erungamizibwa banka enkulu eya Uganda.
At UNOC, we believe in safety.
Revered as the patrons of the wild, my horn stood tall, announcing my presence among Africa's Big Five. Yet, with all my strength, I struggled to survive. Then Uganda Wildlife Authority gave us something, a safe home at the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. And here we begin to thrive again. Today, we are 48 members strong, with 17 cows, ready to take our unique story into the future. This is your lifetime opportunity to name a rhino, and with it, find the conservation efforts that keep our story alive. For more information, visit our website, www.ugandawildlifeauthority.org.
News tonight. Welcome back from the break. The National Curriculum Development Center has identified additional local languages for teaching lower primary pupils in West Nile. The newly added languages include Madi, Gimara, and Kebu, joining the existing Lug Barati, Alur, and Kakwa languages.
It's a multilingual country, and there are so many languages, and we cannot use all of them as a medium of instruction, much as the policy talks about familiar languages. And in fact, when we were here, stakeholders from Madi, they said for them they don't understand Lugbati, they don't understand Kakwa or Alul. They have their own language. But when we were engaging them, they said, you know, these languages can listen from each other. And we are now also going to take it up and see whether it can be added on the list that we have already mentioned. Our aim was to ensure that we even have fewer. But when there is another group which is saying that for us, we don't listen or hear from these people, we have also to give them a chance.
If I compare in West Nile, the literate rates and numeracy rates in lower primary are very, very low. The child cannot read and write. When you are from P1 to P3, the medium of instruction is the local language. So to make now learning easier from P4, because they are turning to using English as a medium of what? Instruction, leaving now the familiar what? Language. It is a better extent this way.
We have moved from region to region because regions have specific challenges. For instance, you can imagine you have a young man, a young boy from Kakwa, from Koboko. The mother speaks to that child in Kakwa, breastfeeds in Kakwa, and when that child goes to school, then the person is being instructed in English. Teaching in our mother tongue does not mean that English will not be taught. No, it is taught as a subject. But in those formative years, let us encourage our people to instruct children in the language that is spoken at home.
The Secretary General of the ruling National Resistance Movement, Richard Odwang, has urged religious leaders to play an active role in shaping Uganda's political environment through supporting government in identifying credible leaders.
Congregations of believers in Gulu City, the Secretary Generals of the ruling National Resistance Movement government, NRM, Richard Odwang, appealed to religious leaders to play active roles in shaping Uganda's political environment through identifying credible leaders that are void of no corruption tendency.
So help us understand what good politics is and what bad politics is. There are good politics and bad politics. The bad ones, we know how they present themselves. The good ones, we know the care, the love, the attention they give to ordinary people.
Odwang said that once the corrupt are identified, the clergy will have contributed directly to the fight against poverty and support the implementations of NRM manifesto, which focus on household poverty eradications.
And I would like to request the church start speaking about this issue called corruption. Speak about it. At least if we, the politicians, are no longer trusted, let the church be trusted.
The Minister of State for Northern Uganda, Kenneth Omona, also challenged the clergy to hold government accountable by inviting local leaders and technocrats to explain government programs to the people.
And the population of the people
also have a duty of the citizens. Now, you also have a duty to guide the citizens on their duty, on their role, because you are their leaders, you are their vision, you are their vision bearers, you guide the population.
Meanwhile, His Grace, Bishop Emeritus John Baptist Odama, stressed the need for government to support religious leaders in civic education, for them to openly engage communities on their rights, including the rights to vote.
The request, we make it very simple. We can request the government to facilitate and accredit RP to conduct civic education, monitor, and observe the 2026 national elections.
The Secretary General made this remark while addressing religious leaders from 8 districts, 1 city, and 1 municipality of Acholi sub-region during a social-economic transformation meeting organized by Operation Well Creations. The gatherings aim at reawakening the roles of church in poverty eradication. Stephen Okello for UBC TV, Gulu.
Pharmaceutical wastes have been identified as a major contributor to contamination of Uganda's large water bodies. Ministry of Water and Environment has received new water quality equipment designed to measure acidity levels and detect contamination.
The ministry has expressed concern over the ongoing improper disposal of plastic waste by local communities, noting that it significantly contributes to water pollution.
Uganda has done a lot. We cannot mention them. The ground where we are, 8 acres of land, has been given to the Nile Corporation by government of Uganda. This is a big, big contribution.
With respect to solid waste and management of, say, plastic waste, why would somebody use plastic bottle and just throw it around on the streets? So I'm just calling upon the public to be responsible in solid waste management, because through our carelessness, we also end up suffering.
Water quality sensors are set to be installed at hydrological and water management centers for real-time monitoring.
Have the water quality sensors which will be installed in the hydrological and water quality monitoring stations for real-time measurement and the transmission of data to the data management system. We will be measuring a number of water quality parameters, which include the pH, here I'm referring to the acidity or alkalinity of water, electrical conductivity, just to look to the content of the water in terms of chemical elements.
Authorities are calling on industries to properly manage and treat their waste to prevent contamination of water intended for consumption.
Also appeal to the industries to be responsible and treat their waste to the required national wastewater discharge standards.
Lilian Idrakua added that the Nile Corporation for Climate Resilience, supported financially by the World Bank, will enable the installation of laboratory equipment at the National Water Quality Reference Center alongside the deployment of water quality sensors. Marion Awori, UBC.
Sensor.
Bunyonyi, Uganda's deepest lake, approximately 900 meters stretches across the hilly districts of Rubanda and Kavali. Its 29 islands, only a few habitable and calm scenic waters, have long made it a crown jewel of tourism. Today, however, the lake faces a severe crisis. Its waters have turned brown, foul-smelling and lifeless.
It has a lot of bird species around, so people come to do bird watching. It's one of the activities that attract people around.
Lake Bunyonyi supports roughly 50,000 people directly and indirectly who depend on fishing, tourism, agriculture and water supply. Yet residents report brown waters, oily films, white scum and floating dead fish in the water body.
Kandi natangirira enyanja nashobora navuga hankuto niho ntwiraho ubwo makaganja higali kabanje aho ndi muka musande zihwere naranza enyanja yacuro rufuro munonga kandi tahatarimo umuyaga gw'amani kwihobwe enyanja yaguma erahinduka kuyaringanize sande kuza kuha yaba yayero.
Though some suspected volcanic activity, experts have ruled it out. The crisis is reportedly driven by steep hills, heavy rains, soil erosion, unregulated waste from hotels and markets, shoreline farming, dead fish, and declining vegetation.
And the waters of Lake Bunyonyi have turned mud. I had never seen this, but the technical people are telling us that the problem has been caused by a lot of erosion. Erosion from the hills.
Nutrient overload has reduced oxygen levels to just 1.6 milligrams per liter, threatening aquatic life. Fish species include crayfish, haplochromines, Nile tilapia, mudfish and catfish, but limited breeding grounds and cold waters restrict reproduction. Scientists warn some species may vanish, endangering biodiversity and local food security.
When that surface runoff goes into the lake, it has a lot of dirt, so the water is already polluted. So there is one solution. The solution is that people must have good farming practices that reduce on erosion and then natural resources management.
Tourism, a key economic driver with 46 lakeshore hotels and lodges, is also at risk. Of 9 landing sites planned for development, only Chevu, Kakoko, Bwama and Mulandi will be upgraded.
Tusigeho mitazi aheye n'enyanja kugira ngo tutarufa kazamizi gitu ga Bunyonyi kandi arigo turanywaho arigo turakoraho buri kimwe cyone.
The Ministry of Water and Environment pledges stricter law enforcement, catchment restoration through terracing and tree planting, improved sanitation, upgraded water treatment and community education on sustainable land use and pollution prevention.
People have to be educated on what to do. How to do farming very well, and then how to protect the natural resources like planting of trees, and then observing the buffer zone around Lake Bunyonyi.
Lake Bunyonyi is more than water. It is memory, livelihood and identity. Its survival is a shared responsibility.
Minister for Karameja Affairs, that's Peter Lokeris, has commended the role of civil society organizations in the Karamoja sub-region, transformation of lives of the Karimojong there. The minister made the remarks while officiating at the high-level regional non-governmental dialogue meeting held in Moroto district.
There are always collisions between us and them. But later, when we say, let's listen to this, under the quite cultural leadership of President Sept, listen to these people. They are always talking about people.
The high-level regional and government dialogue meeting has convened in Moroto district to highlight key issues affecting civil society organizations in Karamoja sub-region. The meeting was organized by implementing partners of the Enhancing Government for Inclusive Development project, implemented by Riam Civil Society Organization. The General Secretary of the NGO Bureau, Stephen Okello, explains the aim of the meeting.
Enhance a sustainable relationship between the NGOs, the CBOs and the government to provide a very healthy and conducive operating environment in the country, whereby we are not operating with a lot of suspicion and mistrust.
Okello adds that the meeting is timely and addresses pressing concerns.
Opportunity to chart a way forward in enhancing the effectiveness of the NGOs while upholding accountability and compliance.
The Executive Director of Human Rights in Uganda, Margaret, explains the organization's efforts to improve civil society organizations.
Rights Center Uganda has worked with partners to build the compliance and regulatory capacity of NGOs and NGO monitoring committees operating at the national and sub-national level through regional and district reflection meetings.
The ambassadors from Ireland, Sweden, Netherlands, and Denmark stressed that the dialogue and collaboration between the state and civil society organizations is key to preventing any potential rift.
That is built on mutual trust, on honesty and openness, and that fosters and continues to build respect for each other's roles and space. Build trust, the more we can get information flowing. The more frankly, on a practical side, we can reduce duplication, reduce efficiency. The cost of compliance isn't only on the civil society side, it's also costly for the local authorities, and we can all use that time and money better.
The meeting was attended by civil society organizations, district officials from Nakapiripiriti, Moroto, Napak, and Karinga districts, among others.
Are we okay?
The Human Rights Center Uganda, with support from the Royal Danish Embassy and the embassies of the Netherlands, Sweden and Ireland, are implementing the Civic Space Improvement Project under the Program on Accountability, Civic Engagement and Rights. The project is active in 6 districts of Arua, Nebi and Yumbe in West Nile, plus Nakapiripit, Kabong and Kotido in Karamoja, targeting NGOs, CBOs, human rights defenders and key government regulators such as the NGO Bureau and URSB. This was during a dialogue at Hotel Africana in Moroto.
The primary goal for human rights in Karamoja is to reduce vulnerability and ensure fundamental rights for all community members, particularly women, girls, and vulnerable populations, by promoting equality, access to services, and sustainable livelihoods, and by ensuring respect for land and resource rights.
Civil society organizations in Uganda, all of them are here together, and the aim is finding how society should live together in an area of peaceful coexistence. And the governments of this country have listened to them, and that's why you find the membership includes the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the security people, the administrative organs of the state. So we work together without being disrupted by any society to better the lives of our people and talk about the well-being of the people of Uganda and especially Karamoja, which is still lagging behind.
Human rights also addresses conflict and insecurity by promoting dialogue, strengthening confidence, building measures between ethnic groups, and promoting inclusive peace and justice initiatives.
Well, so far what we've been having is some of the issues raised by civil society. The NGO Bureau has been asked quite a number of questions about signing of MOUs. They are having, civil society is having problems with registration, having to commute from Karamoja to go to Kampala to register, to get permits. They are raising a lot of issues which affect the sector.
My name is Eric Namungalu. I work with the Human Rights Center Uganda as the head of programs. Today in Moroto district, we are holding the first high-level regional dialogue meeting under a project titled Civic Space Improvement Project. This is a project that is being supported by the 4 embassies of Ireland, Sweden, Denmark, and the Netherlands. It's a project that is designed towards improving civic space. We are looking to improve civic space by improving the level of collaboration and cooperation between government and civil society.
I'm called Dr. Okello Stephen. I'm the Secretary, NGO Bureau, Minister of Internal Affairs. And according to the findings on the ground here, one of the biggest cries on the high costs of compliance, where they're calling for automation of the NGO Bureau services. We have already informed them that's already being worked on. It is our top priority. We want all the services of NGO Bureau automated so that the cost of compliance is cut for not only the NGO sector, even on the government side and the local governments, because if the Bureau is still manual, then even the key actors like the district NGO monitoring committees who should work closely with us are all struggling to ensure that they are monitoring the sector effectively.
For UBC News, I am Opong Jehoshaphat Jones in Karamoja.
Big thing about the MTN Super. Wali yakapia musite wali yakapia. Wali yakapia. MTN kabo de super mustairompia. Then you kabo de smartphone nebi yakabibiona. Wali yakapia. MTN kabo de super mustairompia. Then you kabo de smartphone nebi yakabibiona.
Get the new Kabode Super smartphone and enjoy 16 GB free. Start with a deposit of only 45,000 Uganda shillings and pay the rest mpora in daily installments of less than 1K. You can also make weekly and monthly installments. Together, our vibes are unstoppable. Terms and conditions apply. MTN. MTN is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Trust between insurers and policyholders remains central to public confidence in the insurance sector. Delays and unclear resolutions weaken trust, highlighting the need for stronger measures.
Findings from the Insurance Appeals Tribunal investigative report highlight vague policy documents and inadequate claim support as some of the factors affecting public trust and confidence in the insurance sector.
We've seen instances of poor customer service. Someone has a claim, they are not listened to, they are not guided. Now you can imagine compounded with the issue, with the fact that insurance is very technical. People are struggling to interpret the policy, but then they lack the customer service. Some people just need to be listened to and and guided. But we've seen instances where the insured is a bit disconnected from the policy holder.
To address these challenges, insurers have been urged to carry out their work diligently and with integrity to support the growth of the industry.
We do encourage everybody who is involved in selling to be sure of the product he's selling, to be conversant of the clauses, exclusions and inclusions of that policy. Because if there is any mis-selling, we have already taken a decision as the insurance regulatory authority that that mis-selling should be determined against the insurance company, because these people are doing the work on behalf of the insurance company.
The investigation report seeks to improve policyholder trust, enhance industry reputation, and foster effective dispute resolution.
Our findings end up in recommendations. We do have interaction on an annual basis with the IRA just to discuss our recommendations for the good of the industry. So they should lead, our findings should lead into strengthened oversight by the regulator. We should see insurers getting their houses in order on those specific aspects that would identified, and then this will build public trust and confidence.
The Insurance Tribunal was established to foster public trust and inspire confidence in the insurance sector. Since its inception, it has received 51 applications, of which 41 have been concluded, while 10 remain at various stages of hearing. Charlotte Amuge for UBC News.
Stakeholders call for stronger coordination among member states at policy levels to fully benefit from trading and operating as a bloc. These views were shared by policy analysts and technocrats at the inaugural public-private dialogue on mobility of business persons from member states in Kampala.
Progress like free movement of persons in some states, stakeholders urge the enactment and enforcement of stronger laws showing commitment to integration.
Two major items that partner states should now embark on. One is the renegotiation of Article 15 to do with the right to land. Land must now also be lumped into Article 5 of the East African Community Treaty as an integration agenda.
Lack of awareness among citizens of the East African Community states is a major barrier to foster adoption of this protocol.
I think national identity cards now in East Africa everyone has. Rwanda, Uganda and Kenya can use national identity cards. But even for Tanzania, there are other documents. Like we have the certificate of identity, which you get instantly.
East African community trade in services has grown 12% over 5 years, but fewer than 30,000 professionals move across borders annually, less than 0.01% of the skilled workforce.
The 4 countries allow the 5 categories to move, but you find another country like United Republic of Tanzania do not allow the inter-corporate transferees as well as trainers to move.
Some states under pressure to meet domestic targets have enacted laws contradictory to the Common Market Protocol.
Actually, you're right. Tanzania passed a law in 2025, actually 2 months ago, where it banned, it wasn't re-registering for 15 sectors, which is pretty interesting when you look at the sectors actually in detail. One of them is actually saloon. I mean, all sectors that actually have heavy foreigners, you need to follow, you can't be given a renewal of license, which that law is a sad day for the integration. That's definitely true.
The European Union, a key integration supporter, notes challenges in aligning standards, but highlights benefits when states harmonize to international norms.
In Europe, the East African countries don't pay a single shilling in tariffs to export. That doesn't mean that everything can be exported because standards apply.
Uganda, Kenya and Rwanda lead in free movement using national IDs. Tanzania and Burundi require no visas, while newer members face governance and security challenges. Wadulo and Old Mark, UBC News in Kampala.
In sport, day 2 of the Johnny Walker Uganda Professionals Open Tournament ended amidst a heavy downpour at the Lugazi Hills Golf and Country Club.
Day 2 of the Johnny Walker Professionals Open Golf Championship has climaxed, albeit after disruption caused by a downpour at the Past 71 Lugazi Hills Golf and Country Club. By the end of the day, on which 92 players struggled to make the cut, only 37 have entered the final 2 days draw, including Kenya's Indiza Dismas, who tops the leaderboard with a 1 under 141. Only 15 Ugandans, including second-placed amateur open winner Joseph Chinyai and Wanda Drugumayo, who has finished day 2 joint 6th with a 1 over 143, have entered the quest for the 150 million shillings cash prize at stake.
To be honest with you, I didn't enjoy the 7 a.m. tee off. I had a very slow start. I think it wasn't a slow start. It was tough out there. I couldn't putt. I'm swinging really well. I created so many chances, but I couldn't convert on the green.
Other Ugandans through to the final 2 rounds are Marvin Kibirige, David Kamulindwa, Joshua Seal, Abraham Ainemani, Philip Kasozi, Ronaldo Tide, Vincent Biamukama, Silva Opio, and Hussein Bagalana. These are joined by amateurs Derek Musana, Joseph Rigana Kena, Anthony Yotukai, and Ibrahim Samakula.
And sport brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukoma with the whole team here. Wish you the best of the night. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Bikole Masavu ne Premier Distilleries. Simply buy Coffee Spirit or Simba Gin. Check under the cap, send the code to 6688 and stand a chance to win border borders, tuk-tuks, cash, airtime, flat screens, mobile phones and a grand prize of 50 million Uganda shilling.
Yes, indeed. Akasera keko kubanga Coffee Spirit ekuomerane kasimba jini wali onawe kabogola. Welcome to yet another edition of Bikole
Masavu. Bikole Masavu mukwano gwa campaign yafe ekyagendera ddala maso all over Uganda. Buli wamu wetuli abantu bawangulira ddala ebirabo anti abo baklients baffe oba bakasitoma baffe abakukuutibwa abakategeera benjogerako ekintu kitono nnyo mu campaign eno okubeera ng'ate ogifunamu.
Ky'olina okukola genda ku dduuka eriri okumpi olina okuba ng'oweza emyaka 18. You have to be 18 years and above for you to purchase or get yourself a Coffee Spirit or a Simba Gin. After the purchase, wonna wobeera tuula kalira wetereze, open up the bottle. Osobola okunywa ku kasipo akasooka. Kati nga tonnafuna akokubiri kebera wansi wakasaanikira. You will find your passcode to winning big. That is the code. Eyo code kastomala okugiraba genda mu simu yo wosindikira message teeka mu code eyo osindike ku namba.
Ku namba 688 mukwano gwange n'essanyu eringi tusanyuse nnyo okubeera nga n'olunaku olwaliro tuli wano nammwe tewali mulala wabula nze omukyala sikyali mwana wabula kati ndi mukyala ebintu bizibu ebintu bikyuka nakyo gyomige manya gange ate nga sirinze kandi ne munange.
Of course, Ronnie